Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Holy cow. If today is like yesterday, I think I'll just put an out of order sticker on my forehead and call it a day. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, call in. Good morning. Hope it don't snow, but it might. Oh, good morning to you. How you doing? Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Better get in there and check out those traction tires. And also some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, excuse me, choked to death. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line and say good morning to our Pledge of Allegiance person. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. This is Shelley Holy, and I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Very well done this morning. We appreciate your call in. Thank you. And a good morning to everybody out there as we go to our weather forecast. And the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Hey, you know, here's a little tip. And I got to say, thanks to Whitney for sending this, because it kind of hit me right in the face when I read this one. Remove the clutter from your rooms. Oh, Whitney, how do I do that in this office? Try following the rule: for every one thing you bring in, try taking 2 away for a minimalistic approach. I got to work on that one. You remember all your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like snow showers are in the forecast for today and tomorrow, but maybe a little bit of a reprieve on Friday. Here is your weather forecast for today. We are looking at some afternoon snow showers, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. We are expecting a high of 31, tonight low of 27. Tomorrow, again, more snow in the forecast, accumulations of 1 to 3 inches of snow. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23 for Friday. Maybe a little bit of a reprieve. Partly cloudy skies, high of 32, overnight low of 24, cloudy, and 32 for Saturday. Possible more snow showers for Sunday and a high of 33. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it. She does a phenomenal job putting our weather together for us. Thank you. Her and Scotty both. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. Whatever you need to make your house a home. Woo! What a day yesterday. I tell you what, I leaned over and kept getting the baseball bat. It was just one of those days where everything you touch goes wrong. Have you had one of those days? Today is a better day. Don't forget, we're going to have Lunch Bunch on Thursday tomorrow. And I want to just say this, and I want all of you to pay attention to this, you Lunch Bunchers and those that want to come to Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. If the weather is really bad and the roads are really really dangerous, naturally we're not going to have lunch bunch. But we are right now. Please don't say, I said we're not going to have it. No, I didn't say that. I said weather permitting, because we don't want anybody injured out there. But don't forget, lunch bunch tomorrow at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley, and 291 Poline Road in Twin Falls. All the menu items, fantabulous, delicious. You're going to love it. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And the nicest of people over there. Everybody that goes there at America's Diner comes out with a big smile on their face. Well, lunch bunch tomorrow at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley. And they also have another location at 291 Poline Road in Twin Falls. And by the way, we want to say thanks to Smith's Food King and Stokes for the gift certificates we're going to have tomorrow at Lunch Bunch. Thank you very much. By the way, too, our friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Good people to know. Good people to know. Deanna, are you making a correction on this list? There you go. You're going to change that. All right. And Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open at 7:30 in the morning until 5, Monday through Friday. And by the way, I want to tell you something else, too. They've got all your furnace builders. And we're supposed to have another little cold snap coming in. You want to make sure that furnace is working efficiently and keeping you nice and comfy. So stop in and see these good folks. All your electric and heating needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. By the way, in that list of gift certificates, catching a little cold here. I neglected to mention that Hanson Mortuary also giving a gift certificate, too. So we got Smith, Stokes, Hanson Mortuary. Thank you. All of this at Lunch Bunch tomorrow. Absolutely. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to be honest with you, as I try to be every day. When I sat in disbelief last night, and I am very serious about this, I sat in disbelief watching my television set. It was unbelievable when I heard that Obama commuted the sentence of traitor to America, a worthless criminal, Bradley Manning. Now, let me say this first off. And I really don't care if someone out there in radio land is offended by this. I will not, and I will never, refer to this worthless traitor by his transgendered female name. Never. And I'll tell you why. He committed this Judas crime as a man, and he will be called as such. Bradley Manning absolutely leaked out top secret information from our Army. Our enemies got it, and it can be proven that there were lives lost and injuries suffered because our soldiers were put in more of harm's way because of the leaked information. Quite frankly, and I want to get your opinion on this, Bradley Manning should have stood in front of the firing squad. My opinion. And Obama, with literally 1.5 days left, why did he do this? Why would he commute the sentence, a 35-year sentence, of Bradley Manning? And I will stand behind the statement that there is something wrong here. There is something laying in the weeds with Obama as to why he would commute this sentence of this traitor. Why? Obama, as far as I'm concerned, by doing this, has opened up a Pandora's box of problems. And I heard in a kind of a jocular remark this morning by a broadcaster at 4:30 this morning on television, but there's a lot of truth to it, that people that are in prison with governmental crimes and perhaps traitorous means and methods are probably standing at the edge of their cell this morning, beating the cell doors, the bars, with their tin cups saying, why not me? Why not me? This opens up a Pandora's box of problems. And Obama, this is your legacy. The problems that you've created for America. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, folks, don't let me down. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call to come in, and I know it's on the way, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with my friends. All of these folks are my friends. They're all dedicated, very knowledgeable physical therapists that can help you get back to being you. The number to call for an appointment, 678-1191. I'll repeat that, 678-1191. Now, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with the hydrotherapy pool, all the great folks, 678-1191. Helping you get back to being you, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Real quick, caller, I'll be right there, I promise. You know, I just got to get these good words in. I want to say thank you to Barry Equipment and Rental. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And with the bad weather, you know, they've got all the Doosan loaders for the dairies and the feedlots, and they've got all the equipment rentals and the retail equipment sales. And listen to this, on the used rental Bobcat equipment that they're going to be selling, 0% interest on 48 months. Barry Equipment and Rental, and they're located again on South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Zeb, just Earl. I just come in from the cold, so I'm kind of short breath. But what you were saying earlier reminded me that during World War II, there was a senator or a congressman from, I think, Georgia or Alabama down there that said on either the Senate floor or the House floor that, and this is in the early 40s, he said that the depth charges that the Japanese were using on our subs in the Pacific were set for 125 feet, so they weren't affecting our subs. And when he said that, then after that, the Japanese started setting their depth charges for various other depths on our subs. And I think that's where the saying might have came from, is loose lips sink ship.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, I had written that down this morning, and I could not remember the congressman or senator's name, but I do believe that's where the sentence and the statement came: loose lips sink ships. It's hard to say fast, and you better be careful. But there has been so much of this. So much of this free banter and talk by congressmen and senators and Obama, that basically, what is protected in this country right now, Earl? What is sacred and what is secret?
Nothing, and it's been going down this road the last 40 years at least that I can think of, and it's just totally against, I think, should I correctly say, my ethics as I was raised?
Absolutely. I mean, have you ever been in a boxing match?
Not that I remember, because I was probably knocked out.
Okay. No, but the point I'm going to make here, Earl, and by the way, Wheels, turn up my headsets a little bit. I'm not getting enough sound. What I want to ask you about, Earl, is if you're in the boxing ring, you don't sit in your corner and yell at the guy in the other corner and say, hey, I'm going to lead with a left hook followed by a right cross. You don't telegraph what you're going to do.
No, you don't, and we live in a world that we do that or we do absolutely nothing.
I agree. Earl, it's always good to hear from you. I got another caller stacked up on the line, but I want to make sure I say thank you for your call. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Thanks for tolerating me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. God bless you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
What do you expect out of this horrible president? He's done stuff like this ever since he's been in office. I can't hardly think of a day he hasn't done something that has really damaged our country.
Jerry, okay, beyond that fact, give me, if you can, play devil's advocate a little bit, one good reason why you would want to commute the sentence of somebody that was a traitor to the United States. Just give me one. Calm me down, Jerry.
Well, I can't think of one.
I can't either.
I could tell you a lie, but I don't want to do that. You know, it's just kind of normal procedure for him, what he does. Look at all the druggers and bad people he's let out of prison. Look at Guantanamo.
Yeah.
Look at how many of them have come back and killed our people.
I agree. No, you bring up an excellent point.
All the time. This is what I expect out of him.
Well,
you know, if I even expected one good thing out of this president, I don't know what it'd be. Everything I have ever seen has been bad.
Well, right now,
expecting to be bad till the last second he's in office.
I agree, Jerry, and I thank you for your input this morning. And by the way, today is the right day for your anniversary, right?
Today is the right day for my anniversary.
Well, God bless you and Rose and many, many more. All right, buddy.
My beautiful bride.
All right.
That I've been married to for about 48 years.
Oh, my.
Probably thinking the same thoughts.
All right, Jerry. God bless you and Rose. Thank you so much.
You betcha. You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless. And you tell your beautiful bride the fat ugly guy said hello.
I will do that. Thank you. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Nice people right there. Yeah, give me one good reason. Anybody out there in the audience, give me one reason why this traitor should have had his sentence commuted. And I go along with what Jerry said just a few moments ago. The trash. Now, a lot of people don't like that statement, the liberals. But the trash that are in prison for being the drug pushers and the promoters, etc., turning them back onto the street, oh, man, they are out there just reveling in the fact that they're back there with their big money business on the street corners and getting our children hooked on the evils of drug abuse in this country. Why? Why did he let them go? Why did he commute their sentence or give them freedom? Why? I'd like a good reason. But this Bradley Manning, this absolute perverted man that gave out these secrets, why would you ever even think about commuting his sentence? Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely the best. And that's Dr. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, and she can take a look at these, your problem, listen to your problems, and come up with a solution of help. Don't forget to try to call, make an appointment for a hearing screening, and the number to call, 312-0957. They are located across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely the best, 312-0957. Oh, and by the way, too, every Monday, we give away cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. Sophie's Chatterbox on the square in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes. And don't forget, order your Valentine basket with the great cookies. And, oh, my goodness. Flowers die. Cookies, well, they just make you a little fatter, that's all. But they're delicious at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Nice people. Great bakery. Fantastic restaurant. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Deb. In my opinion, which is humble, I think the reason that Obama did this is because he hates America, he hates Americans, and it's one more stick in your face.
Okay, I don't mean to...
Done yet.
I want to ask you this, though, and be really poignantly honest with me on this. Why do you feel that way about Obama? I'm not criticizing your viewpoint because I agree with you. I think there's got to be something in this man's background, whether it was the time he spent over in Pakistan with the Muslim religion or whatever. I don't know. But there's got to be something that he absolutely does not feel a fairness and equity feeling towards the rest of America and our laws.
I think that he is a Muslim. I think that in his heart he's a Muslim, whether he wants to admit it or not. I think he was raised by a true communist that spread the communism everywhere he went. Probably his true biological father. And I think that because of that, he has, when you let the light go out of you and darkness come in, light can't prevail.
Well,
and I truly believe he is dark and evil.
I
think he is a disciple of Satan.
I could not agree with you more.
That's how I truly feel. When I look any picture of him and you look in his eyes, there's no light of Christ in him.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he ever believed in Christ, ever. I think he is a true Muslim. I think the only God that he believes in is Allah.
I will say this.
And I think that he is truly an evil man. I think he was placed on this earth to test all of us and see where we will end up standing, if we will stand with Christ or not. And that's all that matters.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
If you never believed in Christ, or you believe in Christ, when it comes down to the end, we have to... I always think of those 18 men kneeling down with their hands behind their backs, waiting to get their head chopped off.
Yeah.
And they never denied Christ. I hope I'm that strong when the day comes.
You have said in very eloquent fashion exactly how I feel, and have expressed your faith, and I wish more of us would say it like you did. Thank you for your call this morning.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. That was very, very nice. And she's right. She's right. That picture that we so soon forget of those Christians that were in orange jumpsuits on a beach, and ISIS going behind each and every one of them as they kneel down, and literally they had their heads cut off. But to a person, they prayed to the good Lord while this heinous act was being committed. And my feeling is that if we have no respect for our laws and the taking care of implementing those laws, and if you commit a crime, you're going to pay that price, whether it's 35 years, whether it's 10 years, or whether it is life in prison or even the death penalty. If the law is written in that accord for the crime that you've committed, then you should serve that sentence. And Obama let a traitor to this country off. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I think probably missing the whole punch deal on this. He gets a lot of money from the sexual perverts. And the only thing that I think drawed attention to this guy was the fact that he was a pervert. You noticed when Obama first got in, who'd he point to education department? It was a gay. I don't know what it is, unless it's money, that he is looking out for these guys. And that alone, I think, is what drew attention when he heard, when they probably put pressure on Obama.
There was a comment, Dwayne, that was made, and it's in the paper this morning, and it absolutely sickened me. And here's what the lawyer, by the name of Chase Strangio, an American Civil Liberties Union attorney representing Bradley Manning, said that by what the President Obama did, quite literally saved Chelsea Manning. That's the transgender name they use. I refuse to, because I'm going to call him by Bradley Manning. And here's the quote that really got me upset. We are all better off knowing that Bradley Chelsea Manning will walk out of prison a free woman, dedicated to make the world a better place. Doesn't that just turn your stomach?
My word. Yeah, see, that totally twisted. Everything in this administration is twisted.
Yes.
I'll be so glad when they get out of there. And another thing that people, they're down on Trump. I've seen it the other day. This is the only president that we have coming in there that hasn't used drugs for the last, I think it's 3 or 4 presidents. Bush used them, Clinton used them, Obama used them, Trump didn't use them.
Yeah. Well, I can't say, Dwayne, and I don't think you can either, in fairness. You're a fair man. We don't know what people do behind closed doors as juveniles, late teenagers, early millennial age, whatever. We don't know what they did in the past, and if they're not going to tell us, how are we going to find out? It's none of my business. But you know what? I judge people for what they are today, and quite frankly, I'm judging Obama as the worst president in the history of this United States, with a lot of evil and sinister deeds to his credit.
Well, he's totally got a twisted mind, because to stand right up there in front of people and say that this administration had no, controversies?
Yeah.
There were no controversies in his administration.
Yeah. When I heard that, I got to tell you, Dwayne, I was walking through the living room that night that story came on about how there haven't been any scandals. I remember Nancy Pelosi said that, and I stopped so fast I about tripped over and hit my face on the doggone dining room table. I mean, I thought, no scandals? I mean, where do you want to start first? I can count probably 30 of them.
Yeah, it's something else, and we're about ready to get rid of it.
Amen. God bless you, Dwayne. Good to hear from you. Thank you. All right, buddy. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I've got to pay some bills real quick. I promise it won't be more than 60 seconds. Stand by. Snake River Auto Body and Paint. Oh, they are good. They have fixed my four-wheeled wonder on a couple of occasions, thanks to people either backing into it or throwing a shopping cart into it. My goodness sakes, if you got a ding or scratch or a dent on your car or pickup, take it to the people that are the best. Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 734-5790. And Ken and Dan, the whole crew, they are absolutely the best. Give you an estimate, schedule for repair. You're going to be glad you did. Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. The number, 734-5790. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget our friends over at Redder's Showcase. Holy cow, Guy Redder and the crew at 2611 Overland in Burley. They're having an annual January clearance sale at Redder's Showcase in Burley. All the Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid appliances on sale, and all the Serta mattresses on sale, and up to 45% off on 2016 models of Serta mattresses. Oh, my. Up to 12 months, same as cash on approved credit. Where? You know where. Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Good people. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning. I have a couple of questions. So does he pick these people at random that he lets go?
Well, there have been solicitations by various groups, whether it's the ACLU or other crackpot attorney groups. You know, they solicited a name, saying, help our client, free our client. And many of these groups put together a dossier of information as to why Obama should commute their sentence or whatever. And you know as well as I do, my dear, that the more sensationalized the client, like in this case, Bradley Manning, the more they're going to lean towards doing something in their favor. And quite frankly, I say the devil absolutely was in charge here when he commuted the sentence of a traitor to America.
So it's groups that he was affiliated with before he became president.
Well, we don't know if he's affiliated with the groups. I don't know for a fact that Obama has done work with various and sundry organizations or groups like the ACLU or whatever. But I am going to say that I feel like Obama has leaned toward, let's look at the drug commutations. Do you really, Sharon, want to see these drug pushers that had organized crime at their fingertips and millions of dollars of drug running to our students, our schools, everybody in America, and kind of a spider web of making money illegally underground? Do you want them back on the streets?
Absolutely not. And my point is, my concern is how much is he getting paid, whether it's today or in 2 more days after he's no longer president? How much is he going to get paid for letting these guys go? You know, what's the backstory? There is more to this than him just saying, yeah, you guys pled a good case. Yeah, I'm going to let him go. He looks like a good guy.
Well,
there's more to it than that.
There's speculation.
These kind of people that he's letting go.
Well, there's so much speculation on whether he's getting paid or whatever under the table. I mean, that I will not get involved in, and you can understand why. We have no bona fide proof, and we don't know if they're... Pardon me?
There's got to be more to it than him just having somebody come pat him on the back and say, yeah, well, these are good guys. Look at all these papers that we've got and all these people that have said, yeah, that they like him and that he's changed and all this stuff. No, there's more to it.
Oh, no, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, on my program, I won't speculate. I won't say without any facts that, he's getting under the table money for this and he's going to get this little island off the coast of Tahiti to have a resident. I don't know that, and you don't either. But it doesn't make any sense to me. Why?
Exactly.
An American president would want to commute the sentence of a traitor. And you can look up the word traitor and define it any way you want to, and you'll come right up with what is known fact, that what he did was traitorous to the United States of America. And I said earlier, and I'll stand behind it, he should have been shot at a firing squad.
Exactly. Well, and we know that there are cases of people in prison who were wrongfully accused that didn't have the money, don't have the money to fight that, and so they're sitting there in jail, and it's years and years and years before it's found out that they were wrongfully accused. Why aren't those the ones that are being commuted?
And there again, speculation. I don't know. I can't get in this man's head, nor do I want to. I've got 1.5 days left.
And the woman that called a little bit ago, oh my gosh, did she nail it as far as her feelings on Obama. I'm with her. Any picture that I have ever seen of him, it just sends chills down my back. And I don't know. He is not a nice man.
Well, I think, though, you'll have to admit this, Sharon, that we have not seen the last of Barack Hussein Obama, and anybody that thinks, because the door in the Oval Office is going to close in 1.5 days and Obama's going to walk out, that is not the end. I honestly believe there's going to be some kind of an appointment with the United Nations or some other power position that this man is still going to be a major fly in the milk.
Yep, he is still working on projects and on things, but we know that Soros is still behind him. We know that he's got big money, world big money behind him to get him in on some of these positions to continue to ruin America.
I agree. Thank you for your call, Sharon. Good to hear from you. God bless. Have a good day.
Okay.
Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have coined a new phrase, and you've heard it here first. In just a moment, I'm going to share it with you. I don't think anybody else has come up with this, and I'm going to stand behind it. Don't forget Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Oh, they've got the western windows. I want to emphasize to you that keep that doggone cold air outside and the warm, fuzzy, nice warm air inside with the western windows. Stop into Minnecasia Sales. Zach can help you, and they'll even send over a contractor to do the installation work, and they've got just all the Tartar Farm and Ranch gates and panels. I mean, the best, and the best people working for you. Absolutely. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport, sponsoring Dr. History every Tuesday at 10:06. I am now going to give a brand new phrase that I thought about last night watching television. I don't think anybody else in America has come up with this. If they have, well, so what? We both had our mind working in the same avenue, if you will. I am now going to refer to the Democrats as the Demobrats. They are acting like spoiled little children, and I am from now on in every news story going to refer to the Democrats as Demobrats, because they are acting like, wah, I lost, I'm going to take my football and go home. I've never seen anything like this. I'm 69 years old. I've been around to a couple of county fairs and a hog calling contest, and I've never seen anything like this. They absolutely are. I'm going to make sure I don't go to the inauguration, and I'm going to call all my friends, and they're not going to go either. 60 at this counting this morning of House Representative Democrats are not going to show up at the inauguration. Now, it's funny. But none of the Senate Democrats, to my knowledge, have canceled out. But these 60, I didn't get my way. And then you listen to Mark Lamont Hill, a completely ditzy, off-the-rails black commentator that was on television yesterday and absolutely, I think, through his personality and his job, in the toilet. I'll tell you why. He started attacking other blacks. And he specifically went after black TV show host Steve Harvey. Lambasted Harvey for going to have a meeting with Donald Trump. What was the meeting about? Donald Trump and Steve Harvey talked about how things could be better in the inner city, in the black neighborhoods. He was picking Harvey's brain to find out more information. Harvey, in turn, offered his help, that he, with the people that he could refer to in the ghettos, etc., he could possibly share some good thoughts. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Oh, but Mark Lamont Hill, this overeducated nincompoop, came out and criticized Steve Harvey, ran down former football great Jim Brown for meeting with Trump and others, and called them mediocre Negroes. And keep in mind, Mark Lamont Hill is also a Negro. I mean, you talk about taking the gun out of your holster and shooting yourself in the foot. What is going on with the left that no matter if anybody meets with President-elect Trump, oh, the sky is falling. My goodness, we've got to go out and crucify these people. And the Demobrats aren't smart enough to realize that they are minimizing their base even further because people all across America are beginning to hate them. Hate them. Call me, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Call me about the Demobrats. And I'm going to try to get the head of the Demobrat Party for the state of Idaho, Sally Boynton Brown, on our program next week. I'm sitting here pondering if I'm going to have better luck than what I did with the last one that hung up on me. Oh, my. Time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Hello, Kyle James and all their great staff. Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland and Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. They're open 7 days a week, and they provide for your minor emergencies, major care. Absolutely. Don't forget that. Riverview Urgent Care Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care, and Jerome Urgent Care. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like snow showers are in the forecast for today and tomorrow, but maybe a little bit of a reprieve on Friday. Here is your weather forecast for today. We are looking at some afternoon snow showers, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. We are expecting a high of 31, tonight low of 27. Tomorrow, again, more snow in the forecast, accumulations of 1 to 3 inches of snow. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23 for Friday. Maybe a little bit of a reprieve. Partly cloudy skies, high of 32, overnight low of 24, cloudy, and 32 for Saturday. Possible more snow showers for Sunday and a high of 33. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. Excellent forecast, and of course brought to you by the Urgent Cares, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin, and Jerome Urgent Care. You know what? Minor emergencies, major care, they can and will help you. There you go. Stop in today. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, I was going to tell you, I found out a little bit more about Garth Brooks and his turning down the invite to sing and play at the inauguration. I don't think I'm buying it, though. I really don't. He said that he is backing out of the inauguration. It was purely due to here's the typical excuse, scheduling conflict. Now, I like Garth. I do. I met him. I visited with him. I don't know him like a great, great friend, but we can say, hi, Garth, hi, Zeb. I know him, okay? But I can't buy into the fact that with his resurgence of his career, and he's trying to get back out on the road again with his tour, I'm not buying into the fact that he might have been a little bit afraid that if he played at the Trump inauguration, it might hurt his scheduled concerts. And so, therefore, when they say, well, it was just purely due to a scheduling problem and conflict, I'm not buying into it. I'm not buying into it. And I have the utmost respect, and occasionally going into the news time or after the program's conclusion, Wheels plays one of my favorite songs by Toby Keith, and big old Toby, I'm telling you, former Oklahoma football player, Toby don't care. I mean, that's just it. He does not care. And he said, you're fill in the blanks, right, I'm going to play at the inauguration. He's proud to play at the inauguration. And quite frankly, the Trump administration is proud to have Toby Keith play at the inauguration. And to the other cowards that bent the way that the Democrats and the left wanted them to bend, you know, that's going to hang heavy on their conscience for years to come. And quite frankly, I think it would have done more to help and aid their career than what it would ever do to hurt their career. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Give me a jingle. The other day, we talked about Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus closing in May for the last time. And the animal rights people are standing up. The PETAs and the HSUS, Humane Society for the United States, and all those wacko groups, they're standing up and they're taking the credit for running Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey out of business. And that's shameful. That's shameful. But what was interesting to me is that in the USA Today, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I don't remember what day I cut this piece out, but there was a group of letters that are sent in on the op-ed page. And out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters that they had room for on the op-ed page, only one letter was in favor of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus going out of business. 1 out of 8. And the point I'm trying to make is that today, the minorities, the goofballs, and the absolute ne'er-do-wells are the ones that get what they want. And this one letter, it said, good riddance. They've been mistreating animals for 146 years, and the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus will not be missed. Isn't that a shame? I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss going to the circus. I enjoyed it. But the point that needs to be made here is that now these animal rights activists are taking aim at everything else, whether it is a zoo, whether it is SeaWorld, whether it will be rodeos, horse shows, 4-H events and contests, FFA. Now the dominoes have started to tumble. And if we don't stand up and, quite frankly, go on a real strategic offense, you won't have in the future those events. Because now the first domino has fallen. And the animal rights activists, these perverted souls, are going to get what they want. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Hey, on Obama turning everybody loose, some food for thought is, how do you get people to back your agenda?
What do you mean by that, Doug, exactly?
How to do things you want them to do.
Oh,
if he wants an uprising, you say, oh, hey, I let you guys out of prison. Come on, give me a hand here.
Yeah.
You know, that's just food for thought.
But let me ask you this. How could a man, any person, not just Obama, but how could anybody that, A, is a believer in law and order, is a believer in the Constitution, is a believer in values and moral values and family values, and a believer that there is a right, there is a wrong, and there should be punishment, how could you possibly commute the sentence of a traitor that had the essence and power of hurting and killing other American soldiers?
Well, first off, he doesn't believe in any of those things.
Oh, okay.
Personally, the man has no conscience. He has no conscience. He only thinks of himself, and he only thinks of the people that are supporting him, that put him in office, which is probably Iran. And if we knew everything that went on to get Obama to where he's at today, the American people would start a revolution.
You know, well, wait a minute, right there, my dear friend. I'm almost to the point with Obama and how much I have detested that man for 8 years. And I'm very open and honest about that. You heard me say it well before he was president in 2008. I didn't like him then with his ideology and what he had done in the past. I hate him even more now, and I use that word in a strong fashion. But I don't know if we really want to know everything that he's done, because I think it might just shiver the timbers.
It will. And it will come out. Trump will be finding things that went on that's behind our backs that he's going to, especially if he's done it with a pen and a phone, he can undo it with a pen, which is a good thing. But, you know, that's, David Clark said it just right, that Sheriff Clark.
Yep.
He said Obama is like somebody being kicked out of an apartment. He's going to trash it before he leaves it.
Yeah, that's exactly a good analogy. I agree with you. But you know, Doug, what this tells me is that a transgender, absolutely perverted man that was leaking secrets about our Army absolutely made the imploration to the president about, please let me off, I want to get out, blah, blah. And Obama didn't think about what had been done. He didn't think about the American public. He didn't think about the safety of our military. And he did this as a blatant poke in the eye with 1.5 days left in office.
Exactly. And there's 1.5 more days we got to worry about.
Yeah, you know, you're right.
Anything above this man.
I agree with you.
Or below him.
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Barnum and Bailey, where they're having to retire all those animals, the animal rights activists, are they going to step up and pay for their feed and their health care?
I would imagine not, and that's another subject that I'm checking into, the cost factors, the other people going broke, the jobs that are lost. Think about just all the equipment and the props and the clothing. Everything for the circus is just going to lay there. What's going to happen to it? Nobody else is going to want to buy it.
Well, it's true. Just like if I, went out of business in my shop and I just closed the door. I mean, there's a lot of valuable stuff. A lot of stuff that's worth some money to the right people. But,
yeah.
It's a cost somebody's going to have to absorb.
I agree with that. Got to run. I got to go to the news, Doug. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Right.
Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Oh, you heard the weather forecast, same as I did. Snow on the way. Oh, we need our traction tires, the snow and ice and yuck and muck tires. They've got them all for all your vehicles, your cars, SUVs, your whatever. They've got the tires that'll help you get through all this mess. Stop in and see them today. They've got all the tire chains. They've got the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, everything. But you know what? Number one, service to you. They know you're in a hurry. You drive in there, they're going to serve you. You're going to be back on the road. They are the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, my buddy Randy on Oberlin in Burley. Nobody better. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. See you back in 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, here we go. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday, and they're calling for snow later on, so be careful out there. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I had a couple of calls yesterday. People were asking, what about those portable storage units you were talking about at Western Waste Services? They're called Go Minis, and they can bring it out to store on your property, or they can take it back over to their property and store it with all the goodies inside. You better believe it, the Go Minis with Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. Call them today at 734-6969. Also want to acknowledge real quick before we go to our guest, our dear friends over to Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Hayburn. Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, the whole crew, and they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. That's right, it's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all and can take care of them all. Please get a hold of them today. For your pets, your livestock, any problems, they absolutely can and will help. Ark Animal Hospital in Hayburn, 678-1177. Well, we haven't had, I think we missed last week talking to him, or the week before, I can't remember, but I want to talk right now to a dear, dear friend of mine that has sent me an email the other day, and he simply said, high priority, go Packers, and that's Dave Bego in Indianapolis, Indiana. What do you got to say this morning, buddy?
Hey, let's hope the Packers continue to move ahead and win the Super Bowl.
Dave, honestly, you've played a lot of sports. I've played a lot of sports, been around sports all my life. When they were 4 and 6 in October, even I said, well, not this year. But then all of a sudden, Mr. Rogers said, relax, we're going to run the table. And so far, he's still got the pool cue in his hand.
And he does, and he stays cool under pressure in that, and hopefully he can do that, and their defense can hold up, and they'll win.
You know, honestly, of all the football I've been around in my life, that pass that set up the field goal to win it the other day, running to his left when he's right-handed and make a drill bullet into the arms of his receiver right on the basically almost out of bounds. That had to be one of the best passes I've ever seen.
Oh, it was. It was tremendous. It was unbelievable. And but that's what great teams do, Zeb, so we'll see.
Dave, right now, we are a day and a half away from the inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, it's not coming anytime too soon. What are your thoughts about the inauguration on Friday?
Well, Zeb, Zeb, I hope everything goes okay. I am concerned that we're going to see continued attacks and violence and, rallies across the country and even in Washington against him. And the left is, the left is desperate, and they are going to continue this stuff. And I don't know if you've seen some of the articles, but they're saying that the left is paying people to go out there and do these things, and that doesn't surprise me at all, because that's the same thing against the SEIU did against me when they attacked me and my company.
I agree. And, some of the absolutely heinous activities we've heard about how they want to try to get into some of the buildings that are going to house the different dances and the get-togethers, and possibly put a very, very smelly and very devastating acid in the heating element that could absolutely destroy everything. I mean, Dave, this is ridiculous, and I hope the billy clubs are out and they catch these people.
Well, I do too, Zeb, and America needs to stand up to these people, and and the Democrats need to understand these people on the far left are truly radicals that want to bring this country down, and they see themselves in dire straits, and they're going to do anything they can if it means violence and hurting people and doing things that are just uncalled for. They're going to do it, because I've seen this when I've gone through it with the SEIU, and behind the scenes they're saying Soros is paying for some of this and other people, and I wouldn't be surprised if the SEIU and some of the other unions are behind it too.
I have coined a brand new name for the left and have changed the Democrats' name to, and you're the first person I've talked to about this, so you can tell me yay or nay, but I am no longer calling them Democrats. I'm calling them Demobrats. They're acting like spoiled children.
You're right, and they are. You're talking about the far left. I think there's a lot of Democrats out there that are beginning to understand their party has fallen apart, and they've been taken over and being controlled by people who are, just way out of the mainstream and don't care about this country, and they're slowly waking up, but they need to wake up faster.
Dave, what is it about the Demobrats, and I'm going to keep on using that terminology, that they want to minimize everybody else that they don't agree with, and they continually, and I can verify this, they continually shrink their base of possible support for the future? I mean, it's like drawing a six-gun and shooting yourself in both feet, isn't it?
It is, but this is just like what we saw in Nazi Germany, and in Russia, and other places across the world where communism took over. These people don't understand how to work in our society, in a free market capitalistic society, because they don't want to go out and work hard. They don't want to go out and sell themselves and work with people. They want to control people, and they do that through their lies and misinformation and intimidation tactics, and that's what they're going to continue to do, because they don't understand our American system.
Take like the 60-plus House members that are Demobrats, and they're going, wah, 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 we lost, I'm going to take my football and go home, and I'm going to stay home and watch television instead of go to the inauguration. They represent in their districts every person, and not all of them are of the left. Many are Republicans, etc. How dare they basically chastise their own constituents by staying home?
Because, again, Zeb, this is the only thing they understand. And the other part of the problem is we've had people in politics way too long in America that has let the political system get away from them and let these people do what they want. And I think we're finally waking up, and it's time, and the American people need to take back the political system, and we need to put term limits in. It's that simple. People need to be in government because they're going there to do the right thing for this country, not the right thing for their own pocketbook.
I want to talk to you a little bit about something that, honestly, Dave, and I'm not minimizing this or even trying to make it even trivial or comical, I absolutely was taken aback last night when I turned on the news and heard that Obama had commuted the sentence of a traitor to America, Bradley Manning. Honestly, I wanted to throw one of my Tony Lamas right through the TV screen. What are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear more today and tomorrow that he's doing things like that because, Obama is one of these far-left people that really doesn't care about this country despite the garbage and misinformation he says on his speeches. He is one of these true believers, and again, I'm going to tell people this, and I talk about it in my book. He was groomed by the SEIU in Chicago, people who have marched in the streets of California with the Communist Party. So that tells you everything you need to know about his thoughts and what he's going to do. And he's going to do things that allow people in the future still to bring down this country. And by the way, he's got a house right down the street from the White House, and he's staying in Washington. Doesn't that seem suspicious to you?
Oh, I think that the man is going to remain a fly in the milk for a long time. But let me ask you something. There's been books written. There have been documentaries. I had Joel Gilbert, filmmaker and documentary maker, on my program the other day, and he's done a couple of documentaries on Obama and how much we don't still know about this man after 8 years. If you had a chance to put the man's arm in a lie detector, what questions would you ask to want to know about Obama before he leaves the office of the president?
Well, we want to know truthfully about your birth certificate. We want to know what your true religion is. We want to know what country you really, really are from and what you really, really back. And we want to know your past life. Before you married your wife, what you were involved in and what you were doing. Your sexual preference. Because I don't know if you know, there used to be a guy who had a radio program that wrote a book about. He had this guy in Chicago in the backseat of a car had an affair with Obama.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things out there that's being covered up that we need to know about.
I'd like to know, you didn't touch on this, but I think you probably would have, but I'd like to sit down and ask him how he came from where he supposedly did and where the money came from to propel him to where he is now, because that's very vague in everything I know about this man.
Well, actually, I wrote about that in one of my blogs. The SEIU is the one that propelled him up because they wanted him in office, and they prepared him for office. And his, they got him in the Senate, and then when he ran for president, the SEIU alone donated over $68 million to get him elected.
I listened last night to the various commentaries about the inauguration, and I listened early this morning. I get up at 4 a.m., and I started listening and reading about various things that have been said about the inaugural parade and the inauguration as far as the speech and the location and everything. And there was a guy on there by the name of, I think it's Don Bongino, I think is his name. He's a former Secret Service man for the presidency. And he is very, very concerned about the safety Friday of the parade, etc., because he said, man, never before in the history have there been so many different ways that they're going to try to go after the president-elect.
Oh, I feel exactly the same, and that's what I indicated earlier in the show, is that I'm real concerned about what's going on there, and I hope they can protect him, and because there's going to be a lot of different groups out there, because, again, this comes back to basics, Zeb. Desperate people do desperate things, and the far left part of the Democratic Party is desperate, and the people who support them, like Soros and the union bosses, are extremely desperate because they know if Trump's in there, it could be the end of the Democratic Party as they want it. And the unions, it could be the end of the unions because, he's going to, he and his Department of Labor are going to throw out all of Obama's regulations to control business and allow unions to force unionized people and that. And it could be the end of the unions in the far left. And they're going to do everything they can to stop that.
Dave, looking at the shift of management, if you will, with Obama leaving finally and Trump taking over, What are you hoping for within the first, let's say, 72 hours, the first week, whatever? What are some of the things you absolutely think are necessary for this man to sign or try to implement in the first hours of his presidency?
Well, I think he's got to eliminate all of Obama's executive orders that, have put all these regulations and everything into place, and get rid of those. And I think he's obviously we got to move ahead. He's got to do something with Obamacare because it is hurting jobs and wages across this country. And he's got to put something in effect right away to control the border. We don't need a wall. As I mentioned in one of my blogs, he can put the military in charge of it, and they'll close it down right away. And again, from the business perspective, they've got to get rid of all these regulations across the country so that the economy starts to tick upwards and businesses start to grow. Because we need business growth and jobs growth in this country.
Absolutely. In regards to Obamacare, you and I have talked many, many, many times on this segment about Obamacare and now the possible repeal and replacement of Obamacare. The number one thing I would really look forward to is competition. That is something that's lacking in the healthcare field, and I think that's going to be the stimulus right there to create a better healthcare system in our economy.
Absolutely, Zeb. And again, I wrote about this in one of my blogs, is that if we want healthcare to go where we want it to go, we got to allow competition across state lines, across the country, and that will provide the impetus for the healthcare industry to really get on board and do things and help the American people. And it'll make it a place where people can afford the insurance.
Dave, Deanne just handed me a note. I believe it came from your office in regards to community outreach for financial education, and I haven't had a chance to read it. It was just handed to me. What can you share with us about this?
Well, I'm on the board of directors of a group here in Indianapolis called Coffee. That's what it is. And what these people do, they're a nonprofit that provides financial training, economic training to people who have never had it, and kids. They do it in schools and that. Because one of the big problems we have in this country is there's a lot of people who don't understand how to even balance their own checkbook, let alone how they manage their finances and that as they continue to grow. And it's really a good program. And they're based here in Indianapolis, but they're looking to spread across the country. And I'm trying to help them get some notoriety out there. And I'm asking all of the people that I do talk shows with and other things to please think about having them on air and talk to them about it.
Well, I certainly will. And then also, I see in the second paragraph that you're currently working with Back on My Feet. What does that do?
Back on My Feet.
Yeah, it says...
part of that. That's just the coffee. Because there's some people out there that have been, they're so bad at their finances, they've got in debt and everything, and this puts them back on their feet. These people do a nice job, and some of their programs they have slideshows and other things that they put up, and it really helps people to understand what they need to do to keep themselves financially sound.
The whole thing is with Coffee, community outreach for financial education, or whatever the circumstances, we have to teach people to assume again their own personal responsibility. We can't just hand them the loaf of bread or the fish. They've got to learn how to go maybe make the processing for the loaf of bread and do their own fishing, because we've got so many on welfare right now that I have said many, many times on this program, we need to go county by county all across the United States, file by file, find out who the deadbeats are and weed them out of the system. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, absolutely, and that's another thing that Trump needs to work. I mean, there's so many things. You can go down a long list. That's another thing is we got to get people back to work again and get them off the welfare system. And now that you said that, I just saw an article come across, and I'm trying to verify if it's true, but in Florida, they have enacted a law where, before you can be on welfare or anything like that, you have to pass background screening and drug tests and stuff like that. And and to show that you have been applying for work and stuff like which is what we need to do in this country.
What's wrong? The left always says, "Oh no, you can't do that. You can't force people to do that, etc." Wait a minute. If you're on the dole, there should be some kind of restriction or regulation. You've got to have some kind of reciprocity to earn that money or take that check so that you're giving back to your community. What's wrong with that? It's the same as going to work, is it not?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, and the left, they want people on the dole because they can control these people, and it's so simple, Zeb, what these people are trying to do. They want to control this country, and you control the country by having them indebted to you. And that's what entitlements and that are all about.
I want to go back just a little bit. And by the way, I'm going to try to call those folks with the community outreach for financial education and have them on our program. But I want to go back to the inauguration just for a moment. I'm sure, knowing you like I do, that you are going to be tentatively a little nervous for all the activities that go on Friday. And until there's an actual settling in the Oval Office, I've got a little trepidation because I just don't trust the wackos in our society, and I'm sure you feel the same way. I'm going to be a little bit nervous until this is all done.
Absolutely, Zeb. I'm real concerned about it, and I've talked to people within the Trump organization. Mike Pence was in town this past Friday, and I listened to his speech and got to talk to him for a couple of minutes, and people sitting at my table were on Trump's campaign committee here in Indiana, and I told them that I was real concerned about his safety, and that I hoped that they were doing everything they could to make sure he was protected.
Really, wrap up on this segment, but Mike Pence, is he what he appears to be in the newspapers and on television, radio interviews, etc.? He seems like a very genuine, down-to-earth, caring individual.
Mike Pence he really is, and he's really a nice guy, and I'm going to continue to try, and I talked to him, told him I want to talk to him. He said he'd get back with me, because I told him anything I can do to help, I'd like to do that. I think he's a little overwhelmed right now. Even as he spoke, he actually had some humorous lines, which is not normal for him. He's normally a little more straightforward, but you could tell that he, like he said, my wife and I had to rent a apartment or hotel or something for a couple of weeks, because with a new governor in Indiana replacing me, and I haven't been sworn in yet. He says I'm basically unemployed.
And homeless. Oh, my. Well, listen, we're at the end of the segment.
Like that, and but you could tell he's got just a lot on his shoulders.
Absolutely. And with the end of this segment, we will look forward, naturally, as being sports enthusiasts. Next Sunday, of course, Green Bay plays Atlanta, and Pittsburgh goes to the New England Patriots. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to give us your picks. Dave's fearless prognostication.
Well, I think the Packers will win. As far as the other game, I'm not sure, although I think the Deflatriots probably will find a way to steal the show.
I agree with you. And, Dave, always a blessing to have you on the program. And have a great week, and we'll look forward to talking next Wednesday, and we'll find out what's going on in the Trump administration the first couple of days. God bless you, man. Thanks much.
Very positive talk show next week.
I do too. Thank you very, very much. From Indianapolis, Indiana, my dear friend Dave Bigo on the program this morning. Thank you. I got some things I got to catch up on real quick before we go to our legislative update segment. And this morning, Representative Fred Wood will be with us in just a few minutes. Don't forget Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, his staff, all serving you. And when I say the word serving, very flexible hours, and they can travel to the rural towns and churches to help you and your family with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. So be sure and write down this number and give them a call. 436-5636. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, always serving you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary. Call them today. And as we move along, in just a moment, we're going to have Representative Fred Wood, but I want to remind you, too, about Let's Ride. Oh, my. Snow's coming, they said. Snow's coming. Well, in some respects, I'm looking forward to trying out my brand-new snowplow that I got hooked up to my four-wheeler, thanks to Nick and the crew over at Let's Ride. Absolutely. They're located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the entire world. Oh, my goodness. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 5. All the snowmobiles, oh my goodness, all the four-wheelers. You should see their showroom floor. Holy mackerel. I don't know how they got everything in there. All the accessories, and they've got a fantastic service department serving you over there at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 in Rupert. You can't miss it, man. It's a great place to go because it's where the fun is sold. And also, when you're over in that neck of the woods, don't forget our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Oh, my goodness sakes, they are the professionals. They really care, and they're so diligent in making sure that you, your family, your business is protected. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They know, and can help you. So please call them for an appointment today. The number to call, 436-4424, 436-4424. Dedicated and responsive to your needs, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert, 436-4424. It is time for our legislative update, and I'm always very proud and honored to have this man on my program. Does a wonderful job as a state representative for the great state of Idaho, Fred Wood. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you? And how about those Green Bay Packers, my favorite team as a kid growing up?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you've just won a free dinner because anybody that agrees with me on Green Bay, I'm treating, man. It's on me.
That was an incredible ending to that game, wasn't it?
Well, it was, but you know the odd thing about this whole thing, I've been a Packer fan all my life, grew up back in that area, knew all the Green Bay Packers of days gone by, Paul Harning, Jim Taylor, even Vince Lombardi I had a chance to meet. And in mid-October, when Aaron Rodgers said, hey, relax, and they were only 4-6, and they looked like toast, and he said they'd run the table, well, like I just said a minute ago, he's still got the pool cue in his hand, and they're still winning.
Absolutely. It's on to Atlanta and win there.
Absolutely. Fred, let's start things off this morning on our legislative update. And it's the first time you've been on the program for this year. What did you think of the State of the State address by Governor Butch Otter, and did you agree with everything, or what were some of the highs, what were some of the lows?
Okay, I'll start with that because that's exactly what I intended to do, specifically with education, because that's basically all he mentioned. Well, he did mention a few other things, but most of his State of the State, which was a very short one, by the way, dealt with education. And then there's a couple of issues in resources that I want to touch on, and then I'll wind up by touching a little bit on health care. But let's go to the State of the State and the governor's education budget. I know that the Speaker and I and others in the legislature are somewhat concerned about the amount of money that we're going to spend in the next year or two. As a lot of agriculture has told me, you know, gate receipts are down 30-35%. I think we're kind of operating in a bubble economy in the last few years, and what we're seeing is not indicative of what the future may hold for tax revenue. So I'm really concerned about the governor's budget. He really had a very aggressive budget, and I just don't see how the legislature is going to go along with that much expenditure, even in the number one priority program for the legislature, which is education.
Let me ask you this, Fred, pardon my interruption right there, but I read the entirety of his State of the State, and I got the impression that it's like an expanding rubber band. He wants to expand it and expand it, but sooner or later it's going to snap, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's what we're afraid of, Zeb, and that's why I think you're going to see
a real significant discussion, a lot of discussion, cussing, screaming about the education budget because, there's a lot of people, not a lot, but there are legislators who you just can't spend enough money for education. And then there's others saying, wait a minute, education has to fit in with the whole overall budget. Education is still going to get the majority of the budget. They always will.
Right.
And they will get the largest increase. But I don't think that you're going to see that much of an increase over and above the career ladder. You got to remember, Zeb, that in the last week, a new estimate of the number of students that we're going to have and the growth in the school system has been underestimated, which means that the career ladder now is going to need about an additional $6 million. So it goes from $58 million to about $64 million, if memory serves me correct, just this year in new expenditures for the career ladder alone. Now, that's a lot of money, and by anybody's standards in the state of Idaho. So I think you're going to see that's going to be the most time-consuming issue that the legislature has, is what do we do with the education budget, and how do we dial back some of those wishes and wants, because we just simply can't spend that much money.
Well, let me say this, and if I'm wrong on my percentages, please correct me, but I understand that already isn't education getting approximately 62 to 64% of the state budget? And that being said, I'm kind of a naysayer to some extent. I'm not going to come out and say on my program that just by throwing money at a potential problem is going to solve the problem. How would you as a legislator respond to what I just said?
Well, no, throwing money at anything doesn't solve it unless you actually have a plan and an efficient plan of how you're going to spend the money. With respect to the percent, the last time I was on the budget committee, which was 4 years ago, the numbers have changed a little bit, but not a lot. K through 12 was taking about 50%, slightly more, and if you threw in higher education, professional, technical, etc., the overall education budget was about 2/3 of the state budget, and then everything else fit in the other third. So we do spend a significant amount of our money on education, but I can tell you that, you don't throw money at anything. That never solves the problem. Now, programs cost money, and you and I will agree with that, but you have to judiciously spend your money, and you have to be wise about how you do that. And sometimes we have to increase spending, but we don't do it when we can't afford it.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to ask questions to go down a certain avenue of approach on this problem, but what are some of the things that the people that are clamoring for much more money for education in the budget, what do they want? What are they looking for? What are they trying to increase? What are they trying to enhance? Give us some kind of an answer on that.
Well, I'm not on the education committees, so their specific asks and specific wants, I would be remiss, Zeb, if I tried to sit here and list them, because we haven't gotten that far into the process yet, and my responsibilities are healthcare, which is, that takes all of my time, and what time I have left, I deal with resource issues, and we've got a couple of significant resource issues coming up that I'll talk about here in a minute too. So specific lists I can't tell you, other than the career ladder, which we committed to starting 3 years ago on the 5-year plan. That's going to take by far the largest bite. And the career ladder, of course, is to try to structure the workforce to the needs of the students and then pay them adequately.
Okay.
That's what a career ladder is. And so that's where the majority of the expenditure and the want is. Now, there's a lot of requests for buildings, as you heard from the governor, et cetera. But those are of lower priority for sure.
Yeah. What about, and I'm kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but I wanted to ask you about it before I forget, the idea and incentive of possibly creating more of a tax cut situation?
We are going to have one tax cut for sure. That goes to the employers because of the reduction in unemployment taxes. And that's no small amount of money. That's a bunch of millions of dollars, and I don't remember right now exactly the figure, but it's tens of millions of dollars. So there will be that tax reduction. Now, I don't know if we've got enough room in the budget doing the career ladder, et cetera, for how much other tax cut we're going to have. And if we lift the sunset on the surplus eliminator, where half of that surplus has to go to transportation, then there probably is not going to be much room for a tax cut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't do that and you don't put any of the general fund into transportation, then that's a different story. There may be a significant amount. That will also be a major point of contention within the legislature of whether to keep this surplus eliminator going or not.
Okay.
And go ahead.
No, I go ahead and finish your thought. I thought you were finished. I apologize.
Oh, I was just going to explain that a surplus eliminator is after if at the end of the budget year you have money left over, then the surplus eliminator directs it to a certain place. And the surplus eliminator of 2 years ago directed any surplus 50% to budget stabilization and 50% to transportation.
Fred, you talked about transportation, and I've got to mention at this juncture the roadways. And I think it's fair to say that right now, Highway 30, west of my place, it's a war zone. They've got signs up, electronic signs, basically telling everybody that, wow, be careful, you could lose a small car, your children, your aunts and uncles in some of the holes that are on that road. And what about transportation? What about a budget for fixing these roads? What about, I've heard a delay that almost to 2018 that the Idaho Department of Transportation might not even get to fixing these roads. What's going on here?
Well, and, they closed Interstate 84 between Nampa and Caldwell a few days ago just to fix the potholes one day.
Right.
That's how bad the interstate was out there. The fact is our transportation system is woefully underfunded, particularly with respect to maintenance. And we just simply don't bring in enough revenue to maintain the infrastructure that we have. And, we made an attempt a couple of years ago with one of the ugliest fights down here that since I've been in the legislature about trying to increase transportation fees and transportation taxes enough to start maintaining all of the infrastructure that we have. And, we've got so many miles of roads in this state versus a small population that it's difficult, and it takes a lot of money. And we're just behind the curve. I mean, we actually need more revenue. That'll be one of the big arguments with keeping the surplus eliminator up. The problem is when the surplus goes out of the general fund, then you still haven't solved the transportation problem. So we're going to have to look at that, Zeb, and it's not going to be pretty again when we do it.
Well, I'll come out and say this, Fred, and again, you and I have always had a friendship to where I can be forthright and honest and blunt about various things. The heavy weight of the trucks, the beat trucks especially, loaded going to Twin in a westbound lane, that's where most all the damage is. And then when they're coming back empty, we're looking at far, far less deterioration of the roads. Are we going to have to reevaluate the weight of these trucks and the tearing up of our roadways?
We certainly are. We're going to have to reevaluate how we build roads for heavy trucks. And, the issue is that the heavier an object that goes down the road is, the more damage it's going to do to the road over time.
That's right.
There ain't any doubt about it. I think we need a whole new methodology of funding transportation needs and transportation infrastructure needs. I don't think the gas tax anymore works for that, or motor fuels tax, et cetera. We have to have a new mechanism. I don't know what that is, but we certainly need to give some thought to a better way of funding transportation infrastructure and maintenance for transportation infrastructure. Zeb, we got 50% of our bridges that are no longer in compliance with safety issues. So we've got a real problem in transportation.
Well, and one of the things that I'm really concerned about is that if we keep these things on a cosmetic approach to where we'll just put a Band-Aid on those potholes, Fred, it's going to be an exacerbating problem that's going to get worse week by week, day by day, and we're going to get somebody hurt or killed on some of these roadways because of the condition of these highways.
Well, Zeb, you and I and all of the conservative members in the state, one of the things that everybody has to understand is that when you have infrastructure and you don't maintain it, then what you're actually doing is you're doing deficit spending.
Absolutely.
Now, all of us conservatives understand that deficit spending is really bad. Okay? That puts you behind the eight ball. You lose money when you deficit spend. Now, nobody likes increasing taxes, but you have to have enough revenue to maintain infrastructure, because if you don't, you start deficit spending and you actually start losing money, and it starts costing you more in the long run.
I agree with that totally. Let me, in the time remaining, talk a little bit about the Resources Committee and some of the objectives that you're shooting for in this session. Go ahead and name some of the top examples. Okay, we got 2 issues in resources coming up. We now have a major oil find in Payette County, Payette and Washington County. There's a very significant oil and gas field there. Idaho never had any oil and gas statutes or rules until a few years ago. We put some together before we knew actually what we were really doing. It's apparent now that those oil and gas statutes and rules need to be revisited and need to be brought up to date. The second issue is Idaho Power's relicensing of the Hells Canyon complex, that complex of 3 dams down there at Brownlee, Oxbow, and the Hells Canyon. There's a dispute between the state of Idaho and the state of Oregon with respect to fish passage, and we're really paying attention to that issue. The legislature is engaged with that. The Idaho Water Users Association is engaged with that. And we'll bring you updates to that as we come on every week in the future and let you know how that's going. Let me interject. So that's what's going on in resources. Let me ask you this question quickly, and I've down to about the last 3 or 4 minutes, Fred. But with the outgoing Obama administration, 1 day left basically, and the incoming Trump administration with some of the appointments that you've seen for the various positions, how optimistic are you with a better working relationship from the federal government to the states? Well, I'm hopeful. Now, obviously, I don't know any of those people personally. All I can go by is what I hear in the national news, like everybody else. But I think, from what I'm hearing, they're going to be very approachable, and hopefully they're going to listen to what the states are telling them, that what has worked and what has not worked, and even more importantly, what we need to do in the real near future, in the next few months, of rules and regulations that need to be changed, that need to be rescinded, that need to be repealed, and new ones added to make our system work better. And hopefully they'll listen to us. I agree. I agree. Okay, we've got just enough time to get into one other aspect of this, and I'm sorry for the hurry-up attitude, but the old clock tells me what to do. Healthcare, and of course that brings into the conversation Medicaid. Go ahead, Fred, I'll let you carry the football.
Okay, I wished somebody could tell me what the feds were going to do in the next 100 days with respect to the Affordable Care Act and a couple of 3 other programs not related to the Affordable Care Act, but they took a lot of money out of those programs to put into the Affordable Care Act. They took a bunch of money out of Medicare to put into the Affordable Care Act, $500 billion over 10 years. I don't know where that money's going to go.
Wow.
I don't know what their plan is. You know, Zeb, the Affordable Care Act is 2 bills. One was put in with reconciliation, the other one was not. Well, they can repeal the part that they put in with reconciliation. They cannot repeal the part that they did not put in with reconciliation. So I don't know how they're going to unwind this. Obviously, they're going to have to take a couple of years to unwind it, and that's really making everybody nervous, including the states and the state of Idaho, because, I mean, we have no idea where the wind is going to blow this ship.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, and I think many of my listeners probably are sitting there going, whoa, wait a minute, that sounds a little nerve-wracking. You mentioned that they took $500 billion out of Medicare. What kind of a shaky foundation does it put Medicare in trying to supplement the other?
Well, it's not good. They shouldn't have done that, quite frankly, but they did. They did all kinds of smoke and mirrors to claim that program was halfway self-sustaining. Now, hopefully when they unravel that, then all that goes back. And what they did is they took it out of hospital payments. Is where the way that worked is that they took that out of hospital reimbursements.
Oh my!
From Medicare to hospitals over the 10 years. That's where that came out of. And the hospitals are sitting there saying, okay, so we gave up all of this because you said you were going to expand Medicaid and give it to us. The Supreme Court came along and said, no, you don't have to expand Medicaid. So the hospitals are sitting there holding the bag with no increase in revenue and a decrease in revenue because they took that out of hospital reimbursements from Medicare.
One last question, Fred. As a doctor and as a state legislator, when you hear about the repeal of Obamacare and a rewriting of Obamacare, I said earlier this morning that I think it bases itself to where we need much more competition in healthcare to make a better product for everyone. Is there a solvability to Obamacare, or do you need a big eraser and start over from scratch?
Well, I think what they ought to do is there's several sections to it. There are a couple of 3 sections that just need to be repealed outright. There's a couple of 3 sections that need major changes, and there's a couple of sections that just require a little bit of minor tweaking. Those are the popular programs that people like and want to keep, but it's going to require a little bit of minor tweaking to keep those and to keep it sustainable. But parts of it, yeah, they just need to erase them, start over.
Absolutely. Fred,
start over.
Every year or every time you're on this program, you always give us a great kind of a review of everything that's going on up at the State House and then give us a straightforward approach. I compliment you on that. Representative Fred Wood on the legislative update for this week. I'm assuming that we're going to try to get Speaker of the House Scott Bedke on next week, and I know that you'll let me know, but I wish you well, and stay on top of things up in Boise.
Thank you, sir. We'll try and get Scott on, and God bless.
All right. God bless you, too. Fred Wood, a dear friend of this program, representative for the great state of Idaho, and the legislative update for this morning. Right now, I'm way behind. I've got to get a weather forecast in here. I looked over my shoulder, and the dust is getting closer. Our weather brought to you this hour by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The very, very best at providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area, as they have for over 50 years. Tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, bookkeeping services, all of this and more. You know that. And they've got 2 locations to serve you, 1710 Overland in Burley and 620 5th Street in Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company CPAs serving you. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like snow showers are in the forecast for today and tomorrow, but maybe a little bit of a reprieve on Friday. Here is your weather forecast for today. We are looking at some afternoon snow showers, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. We are expecting a high of 31, tonight low of 27. Tomorrow, again, more snow in the forecast, accumulations of 1 to 3 inches of snow. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23 for Friday. Maybe a little bit of a reprieve. Partly cloudy skies, high of 32, overnight low of 24, cloudy, and 32 for Saturday. Possible more snow showers for Sunday and a high of 33. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. And it's brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And don't forget, it's year-end tax planning time, and you got to get those 1099s out this month of January. Hurry, hurry. And don't forget to give them a call or stop in at 1710 Overland in Burley, 878-7000, or 620 5th Street in Rupert, 436-5607. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company CPAs. Caller, I've got exactly a minute left. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Zeb, you're talking about the potholes on Highway 30. I'm a little aggravated with the transportation department. Here the other day, they had 2 bucket trucks in the city of Hayburn. They was putting reflective tape around the stoplights. Now, why do we need to know where the stoplights are at? They've got red, yellow, and green on them. Why do they have to have all that reflective tape around them, Seb? Can you answer that question?
I can't answer that question, but I'm going to tell you right now that I think it's critical. It's beyond critical what's going on with a major transportation route in southern Idaho, that being Highway 30. Yes, I'm prejudiced because I live on Highway 30, but I'm also very prejudiced in the safety issue to the fact that going west of my place, it is simply a war zone. There are holes that are over 8 inches deep, and probably in some respects over 2.5, 3 feet wide and long, and somebody is going to get killed trying to swerve away from those and meet traffic head on. I'm very concerned about what's going on.
Well, I agree with you there because I've been out there and I know what it is, but they're spending money in the wrong spot.
I agree with that.
How much per hour them bucket trucks are worth, but they could have filled at least one of them potholes, but they're out there reflecting tape all through the city of Burley for some strange reason, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the government there. Thanks, Evan.
No, God bless you, sir, and thanks for that remark. I appreciate it. We're going to take a little break right now and send it back over to the main studios for CBS News, and then just walking into the studio, the incredible Bulk, and he will be on for the Idaho Fishing Game, my dear friend, unless I call him too early in the morning and get him out of bed, Kelton Hatch. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. All right, here we go. The nation has their ears bent to the radio because it's that time of the month for the Idaho Fish and Game Report with the incredible Bulk, Kelton Hatch. So stay tuned in just a moment. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them today at 734-6969. And now, ladies and gentlemen, walking in the studio, stage left, sitting down at the microphone with his Idaho Fish and Game cap on, his vest, a sweatshirt, his woolies on, thinking it's cold in the studio, Kelton Hatch.
No, it feels more like a rest home in here, as warm as you have this house. But
it's
rest
cold. Home.
Yeah, well,
How
they keep.
Dare you say something so rude? What am I going to? I've never been allowed to visit your house because you haven't invited us. What is your temperature at your home?
63.
I'm not coming. It's too cold.
We turn the pellet stove on downstairs and warm the basement up, but when it's time to sleep, you want it cool.
Well, I agree with that. That's why our bedroom is shut off, and I usually open the window at night. I agree with that. Yeah. But during the daytime, I do not like to have cold pimples all over
Makes the kids move quicker. When they're cold, it keeps them warm.
So when you have company, do you just like to see people turn from a darker shade of blue, or what?
We usually end up turning the temperature up a little bit.
Well, it hurts you, doesn't it, to be civil? Yeah.
Well, I like cool, but not cold.
Okay, Jeremiah Johnson, put a log on the fire for the next 3 days.
You betcha.
Hunting season's coming to an end. I thought they were already over.
No, we've still got lots of things going. Well, we've got waterfowl that's closed all around us, has closed on the 13th.
I see.
Except we're open till the 27th
of January.
And so it's getting close. The goose season.
Say that again, please.
The goose.
You have a unique way of saying things. The goose?
Well, I was going to say geese, and then I said goose, and I had my mouth formed for geese. Geoses. Speckle bellies will be open until
February 9th. Your wife's name is
9th.
Jenny, right?
Yes.
Jenny, if you're listening this morning, just take an aspirin, sit down. I will try to keep him away from home as long as I can.
She'll appreciate that. The speckle bellies, they'll stay open until...
Speckle bellies?
They're white-fronted geese, speckle bellies. They're open until February 19th.
How come so long?
Just because we've got such large populations. The feds are the ones that set, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is the one who sets. They give us a window for how many days we can have waterfowl season. And they look at the nesting habitat and how many of these birds are around, and they do population estimates because they're a migratory bird coming down out of Canada across the U.S. Well, there's so many speckle bellies and blues, Rosses, and snow geese up in the north that they are actually eating themselves out of house and home.
Really?
And so they're trying to reduce the numbers of these birds, and so when they come down in this area, I mean, you can hunt light geese. That's the blue, the Ross, and the snow geese until March 10th.
I've always referred to them as Canadian geese, but now you're telling me there's a whole bunch of different flavors.
There is. There's Canadian geese, which close.
Oh.
And then, but you've still got the white-fronted goose or the speckle belly that's going to be open.
Can you actually tell at a distance what they are?
Yeah, you can. They're smaller, and the coloration. They're speckle bellies. I mean, they're called a white-fronted goose.
Do they make the same sound?
A little different hoot, toot.
Hoot
and tootin'. They're a little bit different sounds.
I feel sorry for Jenny.
I do too. But those seasons are going to be around for a little bit. But ducks and Canadian geese.
Ducks?
Water ducks. No, waterfowl. I was going to say. You got me all off my game here.
Man is a Utah State graduate.
Yeah, I am. Okay. And then upland games, birds end at the end of the month.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How, we were by a cornfield the other day over here west of us, and Deanne says, my gosh, look at this. There might have been 2,000 geese out there.
Yeah.
There were a lot of them in that cornfield. Yeah.
And so, that's
good pickings for them.
It is. And it's been a really good year for the waterfowlers. I know everybody else has been hating the weather, but the duck hunters have been loving life because it really pushes the ducks around. It's froze up a lot of ponds so that they're only hitting certain areas. And
how do they land on ice? I mean, without just really having a catastrophe?
They've got skis. They roll their little toes up when they hit.
They roll their little toes up. Is that a professional observation?
Yeah. They're flippers. They lift them up just a little bit so they can slide.
I can't imagine how you got your job. Anyway, but they roll their little toes up.
So they like a ski front. So they can
the director's going to love your verbiage.
But upland game birds, I should say that pheasants closed earlier in the month.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, but you've got chuckers, huns, and quail that'll be closing at the end of the month.
Okay, how were the takings, if you will, on those species?
Things look pretty good across the state for just about everything this year.
Good this
Habitat's been really good. Bird numbers have seemed to be really strong. Waterfowl numbers have been good. So, we should have a lot of happy sportsmen out there.
Happy sportsmen.
Happy sportsmen.
That makes for happy fishing game.
That does. It does.
Yeah. What about your next subject is hunter report? What do you mean by that?
Well, if you went deer and elk hunting this year,
if you
If you remember to buy your license or put in or just buy a general tag, we need that report. We need to know whether you harvested or you didn't harvest, whether you went hunting, how many days you went hunting, how big of an animal you may have harvested, and if you didn't harvest, that's just as important. Because what we're coming to is we've got season-setting meetings coming up next month, and I forgot to put this on the list, so I'm going to just throw it right in there, Zeb.
Okay.
Right now we've got deer, elk, and antelope season setting. And we are going to have those meetings in Burley on February 13th.
Okay.
We'll be at the
day before Valentine's
Day
Day.
Before, is it on the 14th? I said it.
It always has been.
I need to put that in my calendar so I don't
Jenny,
miss it.
I do feel sorry for you.
Valentine. No. I put that in there. That way I won't get in trouble.
Attaboy.
And so, and then we'll be in Jerome on the 15th.
Okay.
And then we'll be in Haley at the community campus. And I goofed up when we're in Burley. We're going to be at the Best Western. We start at 6. We're going to be talking about adding a bunch of elk tags to certain areas because we're having a lot of depredation issues.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try to get more elk tags out there this year. We want to run that by sportsmen. We're looking at changing some things in the muzzleloader seasons. We've had a rotating muzzleloader hunt. We're looking at maybe just putting 3 permanent muzzleloader hunts in those rotating areas. Lots of different changes. We really, really, really need the sportsmen to come out.
Now, if you'll please remember to send me a notice of when those meetings.
Yep.
I'll put it on the air as a public service announcement.
You bet. That'd be
One
good.
thing I'd like to say, and tell me I'm wrong, go ahead, I've got big shoulders.
You're wrong.
I didn't ask the question yet. Don't be so quick on the trigger there, Hopalong. Don't you think, though, honestly, that some of the hunting seasons go on too long?
I do.
You do?
And we've talked a lot about this in our meetings. We really have because, I mean, we look at Unit 55 and we just don't know how to manage it right now. The problem is we've got to, we know how to manage it. We know how many animals. It's a completely controlled hunt unit, except we've actually got some changes that we're looking at doing on that hunt for the archery season in 55. We start August 15th with a velvet buck hunt. There's only 25 tags, not a lot of hunters up there, but it's still pushing those animals. Then we have a little bit of a break during the, and then we go into the rifle hunt. And then right after the rifle hunt, then we go into an archery hunt that goes clear until the end of December. So if I tell the archers we're going to pull it, we only have about ISB, Idaho State Bow Hunters. Their 800 members aren't happy with this because it's taking opportunity from those archers.
Right.
We're looking at kind of tweaking that hunt to make it end earlier, maybe start it a little bit earlier. Then we've got the rifle hunters, and the rifle hunters, they feel like, well, we've already limited the number of tags that they can get, and archery gets everything. And so we're really trying to manipulate it in a fashion that everybody's happy, and we're not hurting the overall animal population. Our goal is to make sure there's wildlife in the future.
I agree with everything you said, but there's another part of the puzzle that I wanted to ask you about and see if you agree. It's the other part of the public that doesn't hunt. They want to go up there, but they feel a little insecurity about being up there during a hunting season.
And I can understand that. They're so tightly regulated and controlled. There's not a ton of people up there hunting in a lot of ways. I can definitely understand it. The other one that we're even skipping over is landowners.
That's true.
And that's who, out of the whole thing, is probably who I feel the most for, is because they've got hunters knocking on their door from August 15th until December 19th wanting to hunt deer near or around their property, or they're dealing with trespass and different things like this. And so, it's kind of a thing that we've worked ourselves into that we're slowly trying to work our way out of. That's what these meetings are about. If people have ideas on how we can still accomplish our harvest goals and stuff, sometimes and we're not going to do this right now, but I guess I look at Wyoming and some of these other places, it's just, Montana, they have archery and they have rifle. There's no muzzleloader, there's no short-range weapon, there's those two seasons.
And a more condensed season, too.
Theirs are actually longer.
Really?
Yeah, they've got
I did not know that.
They've got a 6-week general rifle hunt over in western Montana, and then another. It's almost 8-week archery season. So,
I didn't know that.
Parts of it, and it's just they hunt for a long time, but I don't know. It's one of those. Yeah, it's an issue that we have. But if people have an idea, come to the meetings.
Okay, why don't we hit those meeting times again and locations?
Okay, meeting is Burley, February 13th, and we're at the Best Western, and we start at 6 o'clock. Daryl Mites.
In the evening.
In the evening. Okay. 6 p.m. We'll be at the Best Western in the convention center in the back of there.
On the 13th.
On the 13th.
Okay.
On the 15th, we're in Jerome at the regional office.
Okay.
6 o'clock, same deal.
All right.
And then on the 16th, we're at Haley at the community campus.
Okay.
And so all of those meetings start at 6, big game season setting. So come and give us your ideas, what you're thinking, and we'd love to talk to you.
Okay, let's go to the next subject, and that is controlled hunt applications for bear and gobble gobbles.
Gobble gobbles. They're coming around the pike here. We're about ready to start. You can't believe it, but we're already starting up applications for April hunts.
You're kidding me.
And so, and I didn't write down the date for sure what the opening is. I'll just give you the notice that you've got. January 15th to February 15th is application time for bear.
So now.
Right now. And that's just, the only units we have is Unit 32 and 28.
Where is 32 and 28?
Council area.
Council area. Okay.
And so the rest of the state's pretty much open, but there's some people that like to put in for those just because they feel they can find bigger bears. It's a little different. It's a little different hunting experience than coming up here.
You
to
ever bear hunt?
Yeah.
Have you? Have you ever got one?
Yeah.
You have
7, 8 bears.
You're a 7-time winner of a bear hunt.
Well, I didn't draw. Those are general
You're big
tags.
enough to go get them with a stick.
I go with them I hunt with a knife. It's no competition otherwise.
You have your own dogs and everything?
What
are you doing over there?
Nothing.
Get your phone off of there. It's ringing on my table, and I can hear it.
I was wondering what was going on. I'll set it right here in my coat.
Every time you come out here, I've got to arrange all those little toys over there in Kelton's toy box.
It is. It's nice, too. And I was going to bounce the ball.
Don't
Shouldn't have given me a ball to bounce. But no, you can apply for that hunt, and then the turkey right after that's done. Turkeys for down here in the South Hills.
Got a lot of turkeys?
Probably not as much. Well, there's quite a few.
Oh.
Pretty good, but there's some other controlled turkey hunts around that you can start applying for. But for locals, that'll come up in another month after that. So.
Okay, so basically for the next 2 months, they better be aware.
Yep, be aware. And then right after that's done, then we start into trophies.
Okay.
Trophy species, moose, goat, bighorn sheep. Yeah, you gotta love Idaho. You end one season and start another.
The one thing you don't have on this list today, and I scanned through it really quick, and I got to compliment you as compared to what I normally do is chastise you for
everything.
Well, not everything, but this list is triple spaced, and it's all in capitals. It's very, very well done. Who typed it up for you?
My wife.
No,
I typed it up myself.
You don't have anything on there about ice fishing.
I forgot about it. There's so much other stuff on there, but ice fishing, there's plenty of ice.
Oh my!
How
thick is the ice right now? Do you know?
Well, out there and we're going to talk about this coming up pretty quick, but out at Walcott and those areas, there's over 10 inches. And so, the ice is plenty thick. If you're wanting to go out and do some ice fishing, get out and have some fun.
I don't like it.
Wow, it's cold.
It's
setting on
doggone blankety-blank cold out there. I don't want to do that.
Well, you just have to get in the right mode.
I'm from the ice fishing capital of the world back in Wisconsin and Minnesota.
But your house feels like you're living in Arizona. So
no, you said it felt like a retirement center. He said that we lived in a retirement center, Deanne, because our house was so warm. Is he making an accusation that we're old people?
I didn't say her.
No, we're both old.
Okay.
Anyway, let's see. Pronghorn on ice. I heard about this story. What happened? It's a sad story.
Well, we had ice fishermen out at Walcott, and they're out fishing away, and they 500 head of pronghorn.
500?
That's what they was guesstimating the herd at. Started moving towards the lake, and they do use it as a bridge. The river to get across from one side to the other. Little bit of wind this year, as if you may have noticed, and it had blown a lot of the snow off the ice, making it pretty slick. 200 of the pronghorn got across the lake that's coming off the desert, not too far from Coldwater down in that area. That's crossing, and they got across. Well, something spooked them right when half of them were about across. Well, 47 of them ended up getting stranded on the lake. 250 went back to the north. The other 200 got across to the south, and then there were 47 of them left in the middle of the lake.
Wait a minute, they couldn't move?
Well, they just panicked, and they were in a real slick spot, and they couldn't gain any footage or any traction to move.
Holy smokes.
The next day when we got over there was 10 that had been killed or died by coyotes. Had came in the night. We'd got over there. We got the phone call from the fishermen, and on Sunday we got over there in the evening. It was just too dark and too risky to go out there. We didn't have airboats. We didn't have all our equipment and stuff. So what we did is the Daryl went back, made some phone calls, got a crew together, got an airboat, and then the next morning at 9 we was out there.
You couldn't take a snow machine out there?
Well, it's just we didn't know everything about it. We just weren't ill prepared. We didn't have ice augers to be able to exactly test how deep the ice is. The airboat was just safer because if you're out there doing that type of work, even if the ice breaks underneath you, hit a warm spot or something like that, you're still above water. We didn't want to lose the life of anybody out there by just running out there and trying to take care of something that we weren't really prepared to take care of.
So 47 died?
No. We had, the next day we got back, 10 were dead. We took the vet from Boise, came over, was out there with us. We got a hold of 20 others that either had split pelvises or separated shoulders.
Oh, my.
And we euthanized them. They were donated to the local food bank and given out to people that were in need. And so out of it, 30 ended up dying or were either killed or we euthanized.
And all of this because of the slick ice.
Slick ice.
Yeah.
And for some reason they panicked. The fishermen said it was kind of weird they was going across, and then all of a sudden they just scattered. And we had 6 that were there that next morning that was able to grab, take back across and release, that we was able to release.
Were you there?
I wasn't. I hadn't got the notification until late, and I didn't get over it.
You hear about these stories, and normally you associate these kind of stories with some of the things you see in Alaska or other parts. But
well, it feels like it.
It has lately, I'll guarantee you that. But I never thought about that. I mean, with their hooves on that ice, it must have been just a skating rink out there.
Just think of you trying to walk across your icy driveway.
I don't think that's not funny, because the other day I didn't see the ice that got me.
Yeah. And so, and this is the first time we've ever seen anything like this at Pronghorn, but we've had elk go through over Lake Lowell using the lake to cross.
Yeah.
Got too much weight on it. We lost 20 or 30 bulls,
really,
elk out in that lake a few years ago, and so things like this happen. And no, it's been one of those tough winters.
It has.
We get lots and lots of issues right now with wildlife.
Well, I would imagine we're going to come to that tough winter on wildlife a little bit later. But what about the herd? I mean, the others that went back to the original location, have they tried to cross again?
We don't know. I mean, it's interesting. You go out there and go pronghorn hunting, you can't really find one. And then in the winter, they get in these monster-sized I
mean, 500
herds.
Is a big herd.
They do. And they get together and they move across. And I'm sure that just by that many in mass, it helps with some thermal, their closer body heat.
Yeah.
There's also plenty of them to help paw and knock snow down, and they can take turns and they get together, and it's just a survival method that they've come up with to winter. And we'll see these out in Unit 46. We'll see them over in 41. We see these big herds of pronghorn this time of year.
Now, I'm going to ask you this because I don't know the answer to this question, and in regards to the numbers. Are the numbers, and have they increased over the last decade, of antelope? I would say yes, I've seen a lot more.
We're actually looking at putting a new hunt in Unit 55 and 56 and 57 for pronghorn, because we've seen a growth in pronghorn populations down in the Oakley Basin, clear down into Malta, and so we're looking at it putting. And so overall, it's kind of a moving target, because like up in Fairfield, we have really, really good fawning habitat up there, and we get a lot of twins, a lot of survival on them. So we get a real spike in pronghorn numbers, and then we'll increase doe tags to knock them back, and so it's up and down. But overall, I'd have to say our pronghorn numbers are really doing well.
Speaking of Fairfield, I talked to some people yesterday that said it is absolutely snow-ridden up there. It's a mess, they say.
Well, that's the tough part. I'll jump ahead on this. This tough winter for wildlife right now. I mean, it really, really is. I mean, we've been doing aerial surveys, and you feel bad for the elk, because we've got these herds of elk that are on the side of the mountain, and I mean, they're really high up, and it's the best place for them to be, don't get me wrong, because if they can find those wind-blown ridges. But I mean, there's 3 foot of snow on the side hills up there, But when they come down into Ketchum, Fairfield, Cary, we got 4 foot, 3.5 foot, 4 foot of snow on the level.
I heard that even the wheel lines were almost covered up.
You get it by Sun Valley, by Ketchum, you can't see the rainbirds on the wheel lines.
Wow.
And this is in the middle of the fields. I mean, they've got, 4 foot on the level.
And that's got to be hard on the wildlife.
Well, it's hard on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's barns that have collapsed. We put in all those hay yards up there, stack yards. Elk can't get off the mountain to get to the stack yards because they got so much snow so quick. It's really concerning this year. We're up. We're actually right now as we speak. I came to your meeting instead of going to the other one.
Good.
Because
God bless you.
they're actually having a meeting with the Winter Feed Committee, Advisory Board, and with a bunch of landowners. We're really looking at. We typically never feed. Idaho Falls right now is feeding because they lost the Tex Creek winter range. We're looking at starting to feed in some of these areas up north, just because, I mean, there's just so much snow, and the elk can't get out of there. Wow. So we'll probably, I don't know, we're looking at that today. They're at a meeting trying to talk through that right now.
Okay, we're with Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game, the incredible bulk, and very informative today. Before I send it back over to our main studios, I want to remind you about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Yes, they're having their huge inventory crunch. Clearance sale. Save up to 75% store-wide. They are sacrificing all their clearance items at drastically reduced prices. 12 months interest-free financing available. Stop in today. And if you're remodeling, it just got a lot easier and less expensive. Check out all their flooring, everything right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. All the mattresses, all the furniture, everything, and save money at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Kelton Hatch has been on our program for years, literally, and he knows when the microphone is on or not.
I didn't know it was hot. I was talking about my little squishy toys, and it was all cracked.
Again, Jenny, if you're listening, go to the store, to the small children's department, 0 to 6 years of age, and just spend $30, $40, $50 buying him toys. It doesn't keep much. It doesn't take much to keep you satisfied.
No, it's just ADD kids need something to do.
I tell you what. Hey, I want to remind everybody about the best plumber in the world. I tell you what, this guy is good. Nathan Harris, Harris Plumbing NG, and they're located at 630 Dion Street in Burley. I've used this plumber many, many times. As a matter of fact, yesterday, and you talk about service. He comes in, gets the job done, bingo, bango, he's out of there to help somebody else. He knows what he's doing. I swear by this guy, I'll guarantee you, for all your plumbing service needs, Harris Plumbing NG. The number to call, 431-8633. Nathan Harris, I salute him because, by golly, when you call a plumber, you want the best, and he is Harris Plumbing NG. Any more on the tough winter for the wildlife?
There's a few other things. I just wanted to mention we're starting to get a lot of deer moving down to the interstate over here on 84.
Oh, yeah.
Out by Travelers Oasis and down there.
Yeah.
Just a warning for everybody wherever you're driving in the Magic Valley. Just slow down. We've got deer in the Drome Airport last night that we had to go push deer out of there. They've moved down out of the desert. They got into the fenced area down there.
But that little loop over there by Travelers Oasis to the north side of the road where there's that underbrush and those trees, they will come sailing across there, and it's dangerous.
Well, we had 10 hit the other day on the road.
10?
Yeah, between there and the Flying J. And
wow.
Lots of deer coming out right now. The other thing is everybody's excited that snowmobilers, you see those elk, you see those deer up in the air, just stay back away from them. They're stressed to the max right now. They don't need to be pushed anymore. If you see them, it's fun to look at them, but they just don't need pushed. It's really concerning right now. These deer down south, I think, are going to winter fine. The snow's
You were telling me this morning the snow's not nearly what it is here. Basically, is it? Up to the Forest Service line.
It's just like this up to the Forest Service line. I mean, there's no more depth in snow from right here than it is up to the Forest Service after you get up by Magic and up there. But the thing is the fortunate thing is those deer have a place to migrate. The elk have a place to migrate. We're having issues with elk getting into haystacks right now. All across Idaho. If you're a rancher, farmer, having issues with that, give us a call at the office. If we don't know what's going on, we can't help. We have Tensar, we have cracker shells, we have lots of little things to help haze the elk out of the haystacks. There's plenty of forage around here for the animals to make a living up on the hill right now. But up in the Haley, up in the northern areas, it's going to be a nip and tuck winter for a lot of them.
That was a neat picture in the paper the other day of that bull moose ambling down the roadway.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't, actually. I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
One subject I wanted to get into with you this morning, and I say this in all seriousness, it really burns me up to hear about poached animals. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's frustrating. We had a bull that was shot over by Bliss the other day. A lot of folks saw it on the front page of the paper today. We've had several deer up Cherry Springs, Indian Springs, right down here, that have been shot and left.
Right up here south of you?
Yeah, right here south of you. Every year, that loop is just... people get mad that we shut the Forest Service and BLM shut roads.
Yeah.
Well, when you have 6 or 8 deer that are shot and left,
and they're just shot and left there.
Shot and left. Some of them have their antlers removed, and we've got one on our the other day that the whole animal is left there, shot and left.
So no meat,
nothing. And the thing is a lot of people like to make the argument, well, they're trying to feed their family. No, they're not. If they wanted to feed their family, they call a food bank. There's a million other ways to feed yourself.
Yeah, but if they're just shooting the animal and leaving it lay, how can they use that lame excuse?
They're not. Yeah, I mean, exactly. But it's just... It's not an epidemic to that proportion. I personally, this is all anecdotal. I personally don't believe that there's that many people that are doing it. I just think there's a few that have no disregard for other people's stuff, and they go up there, and I don't know why it happens, but if you see something like that, please give us a call.
Are the laws tough enough to really hammer these people?
Okay, now you're trying to get me to... Are they tough enough for anything, Zeb?
That's true.
That's the hard part.
Are they literally going to get just a slap on the wrist and see you later, Barney attitude, or what is it?
Well, it's like this bull that was shot over by Bliss, most likely it'd be $1,000 fine, possible hunting license suspension. To some people, that's a pretty stiff fine. What's that animal worth if we was to sell it? Beef prices probably close to $1,000. Just because somebody shot it and left them, and it's a waste. I can't. I'm probably not a good person to ask if the laws are tough enough. But if anybody has any information on that or any other poaching instances or trespass or any problems, call us to the office at
324-4359.
I'm impressed. I can't hardly remember my own phone number. And
let's back up just for a minute and talk about that elk over at Bliss.
Yep.
Now, I'm making an assumption here, and please bear with me because I do not know the story. Let's make the assumption that that particular animal might have been in a stackyard or eating hay and causing havoc, but wouldn't it have been a lot smarter for everybody involved if that was the scenario to call the Idaho Fish and Game, 324-4359, saying that they're having that depredation, alerting the authorities, and then go from there?
See, I don't believe it was a landowner. I do not. I think that was just somebody taking a random pot shot that we get all the time. We have them shot in hayfields.
And left the animal in its entirety.
Yeah. Oh, all the time, Zeb. All the time. The landowners, John Guthrie had worked with this landowner before on netting where this is all taking place. I really, 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 really would be shocked if a landowner had anything to do with it, because 95% of the landowners, 99% of the landowners we work with, they understand what's going on. They understand that we can come over and haze the animals. Hay's not worth much this year.
Was it in a...
It come down to a haystack. We've got it. It's a haystack that we'd covered in Tensar last year. Elk hadn't been... Tensar's a plastic netting that we put around them so that they can't get to it, the hay, and eat it.
Was it in a close proximity to a road?
Right by a road.
You're kidding.
It was. That's why it was just right down a paved road. I guarantee somebody was driving by early in the morning and said, let's see if we can hit it, and just stuck the gun out the window, shot it, and drove off before the animal didn't go down right when they shot. I don't know.
Isn't there a multiplicity of crimes there? Shooting out of a vehicle, shooting from a roadway. I mean,
but it's the same thing. You got to be there to be able to. You just got to know who's done it. And so there's a whole wrath of them there. Out of season. And so, but we have that. I hate to sound jaded and things like that, but I mean that's exactly how it happens in the South Hills. That's exactly how it happens down in Goose Creek when we have animals that are shot along Goose Creek Road. We have them every year. I've investigated or looked or found 8 different animals myself down there.
Just to shoot and leave lay.
Correct.
That's pathetic.
It is. It's frustrating, and so I'm not going to point. Our landowners are really good. We work with a lot of them, and I don't think that there's any way, shape, or form this has anything to do with that.
Do you think there is a possibility that somehow this person or persons would be caught?
The only way they're going to get caught is if their buddy turns them in.
Yeah.
They're frustrated.
Or loose lips.
Or loose lips, yeah. Sink ships, and, or girlfriends are really good.
Really?
Yeah. Jilted girlfriends, ex-wives. Man, boys, if you're doing things that are legal, you better bring something extra for Valentine's Day, because otherwise they give us a call. The first thing
would have never bought Jenny a gift if I hadn't reminded you about it.
Well, I'd have figured it out sooner or later. Yeah. But no, it's kind of interesting. But that's how we do get a lot of cases that way. Well, by the way, this guy.
Yeah.
It's like a week after the breakup.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got a weather forecast to get in here. Stand by. We'll have more with Kelton Hatch. Welcome your calls to talk to him. And we've still got something else I'm not quite sure of to talk about. Japanese you? I want you to talk about that in just a minute. Right now it's time for our weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by some really good folks over at Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Yep, they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Have you tried that oven-ready marinated prime rib? Oh, it is fantabulous. You better get a hold of them today. All the meat's delicious from your hometown meat cutter, locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years, Scarrows Meats. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like snow showers are in the forecast for today and tomorrow, but maybe a little bit of a reprieve on Friday. Here is your weather forecast for today. We are looking at some afternoon snow showers, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. We are expecting a high of 31, tonight low of 27. Tomorrow, again, more snow in the forecast, accumulations of 1 to 3 inches of snow. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23 for Friday. Maybe a little bit of a reprieve. Partly cloudy skies, high of 32, overnight low of 24, cloudy, and 32 for Saturday. Possible more snow showers for Sunday and a high of 33. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and his great crew. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. And now back to more with the Fish and Game officer that described how ducks land on the ice. They roll their little toesies up and down they go.
Slide. You got to have that cartoon character looking
Daffy Duck landing on ice.
No, they actually do slide.
Yeah.
And they lean way back.
I'll bet it's in for a heck of a slide.
It is. Big old goose, they can get...
You hit a little rivulet in the ice or a little snowdrift and it could turn into a NASCAR wreck, couldn't it?
Well, fortunately, they got a lower center of gravity than you or I.
I'm going to head over to Murtaugh Lake in the next day or so and watch the ducks roll their little toesies up and land.
Yeah. They lean way back.
You've done a study on this.
I've watched them.
Graduated from Utah State.
I did, but I didn't do a study on that. I
did
just
a
watched
thesis on rolling your little toesies
squirt gun
up.
Still has water in it.
It better not.
It does.
Okay. Japanese yew, Y-E-W, kills elk. What is this?
Well, it's an ornamental plant. And
what does it look like? You got a picture of it?
I do, actually.
Oh, let me see that one.
It looks just like a pine needle, but it's just an ornamental plant.
And that's called Japanese yew?
Japanese yew.
What do they use it for?
Ornamental, to make your yard look pretty.
Uh-oh. So we're kind of exacerbating the problem.
Yep. And so what happened? Last year we had 21, I think it was, elk killed in Sun Valley area from eating Japanese yew.
Really?
And this year there's 7 more that were killed over outside of Boise. In the foothills near Table Rock. Guess I'm just getting it out there that if you've got wildlife frequenting your lawn, your yard, you got pets.
No,
you're
what
concerned
about
your little
other
kids. Yeah, I can kill you.
You eat it or chew it and then you're dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a toxic plant. The needles are what's toxic. And so if you have it, I would, or if you're building a new house, or if you're looking at doing some change, I probably wouldn't put that in my yard.
Is it indigenous to this area?
Nope.
Well, then how did it get here?
Yeah, ornamental plant.
Then why isn't it illegal?
I don't know.
Oh. You're supposed to stay on top of this stuff.
It's just...
You need to know more about the yew.
I know enough about the yew that I'm not going to put it in my yard.
Okay. But Japanese yew.
Japanese yew. And so it's killed another 7 elk this year out of the foothills area. Like I said last year, 20 plus. Every year we get a few animals that expire from this, that we get any snow, and they come into town. And so just be cautious when you're putting in new shrubs in your yard.
Really? Now, when you say put new shrubs in your yard, now are landscaping companies selling this?
They have been. And the word's getting out more and more and more every year.
And they know it's toxic now.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And so, and they've known it for a while.
Would you know it if you saw it out in my yard?
I'm not a really good yew knower.
Yew knower?
Yeah, I don't know my yew from my... Well, I knew my blue spruce and my...
You scared me when you said you didn't know your yew from your... never mind.
Yeah, and so...
But it is serious.
It is, and so just for people, if you're living in wildlife areas, just be cautious. Make sure you just... When you go in there, the little card tells you exactly what it is. I guess it's just education's a big percentage of this, and if people understand that it's not a good plant, the nurseries will quit carrying
Does it grow and prosper to where it replenishes itself in large numbers?
No, it just, you plant it and it grows really pretty.
Pretty?
Yeah, it's a pretty plant. It's an evergreen. It's the needles aren't as stiff and prickly as a pine, and so, and it does make a nice green shrub in your yard.
Oh, but it's deadly. Okay. What about this commission meeting?
Well, this is a good one. If you've got any complaints,
and I can't imagine that,
you can call us here, talk to Zeb, right. Or you can go to the commission meeting January 25th and 26th at the headquarters in Boise. It's on on Walnut Street.
I have no clue where Walnut Street is.
You know where BSU is?
Yeah.
Do you know where the Ram is?
Uh-huh.
Now you go east of the Ram.
Okay.
If you go just past the Ram and take that road, and you start driving east, you'll run right into Fish and Game.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we're on Walnut down there. The 25th, the evening of the 25th at 7 p.m., we're going to have a testimony meeting.
And this is open for everybody. It's a big meeting.
Yeah, it is. We'll have a couple 100-plus people there probably.
Really?
And so you can go in there, fill out your little paper, get up, talk to the commission directly, tell them what issues you have or what you like, what you dislike, what you'd like to see different. We are setting our seasons for trophy species at this meeting, so that means moose, sheep, and goat. We had that meeting that we had over here that we had 3 in Burley and 2 in Twin Falls show up to. We've got our proposals. We're looking at adding a few U tags to the Jim Sage sheep hunt down there because of the population of the herd down there. We're looking at putting some ram tags for bighorn sheep in 54. That population's been there for about 25 years from the original transplant date. Sportsmen of Idaho have never been able to benefit at all from that. That population is really not going to go anywhere. It's not growing. Too much disease in it. So we do know we have some mature rams in the area.
Okay.
So we're going to allow sportsmen to harvest them this coming year. We're going to have a draw down there. It's going to be a very difficult hunt. When you say finding a needle in a haystack, is finding a needle in the haystack. Think how many times you've driven down in 54 and how many bighorn sheep you've seen running around.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, okay.
What about the moose? Are the numbers up?
Moose, we're having a concerted effort this year to get up there and really get a count on those.
They shouldn't be hard to spot.
Well, there's a lot of country.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of country,
that's
and
true.
So
are you going to be the counter?
Yeah, I'd have to take my boots off, and then my toes would get cold.
No.
Graduate
of Utah State.
And so, no, we're going to go down there and do some snow machine surveys, hopefully later on this month. Yeah.
I see.
And try to get in there. If you're down there out and about and you see them, give us a count, give us an idea where you're seeing them. They're going to be stuck in a certain area this year. There's enough snow where they're set up for deep snow. I mean,
right.
Long legs, big body.
Yeah.
They can eat 7 foot in the air. They can eat branches off the trees if they
kind of like you when you played football at Utah State.
Pretty much. And so, but if you're seeing them down there, you got some pop areas where they're at. Give us a holler.
So this commission meeting is really important.
It is. And we just want to invite. I'm hoping that they get a good turnout they should have a really good turnout over there.
Okay, and that's on January
27th or 25th and 26th.
And
the testimony meeting's the night of the 25th, and then the commission meeting. And if you've never been to one, it's kind of interesting to see how they set and discuss things. They take all our information that we've gathered at our public meetings. They've given that to the commissioner. The commissioner will. Then we'll hear ideas from the department what they believe all the information that they've gleaned from the public is,
right,
and they'll give that to the commission, what our recommendations are, and then the commission will discuss it, and then they decide whether they're going to go with it or whether they've got some other idea that they want to change it in a different way. And so it's good to go over there and be heard.
Kelton Hatch, I'll be back with closing comments in just a moment. Don't forget your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. You've heard the forecast, more angel dandruff. Might get 3 inches today, then again tomorrow might get another 3 or 4 inches. You better have your traction tires on, your snow and ice tires from your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, they've got the best, and they can take care of you at all 7 locations. The best in tire chains, and of course batteries. Have your battery checked, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and the best in brake service. I'm telling you, it's all there. With Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, Twist Family and Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland and Burley. For all your snow, ice, yuck, and muck traction tires, they've got it all right there at any of the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Stop in and see them today. We're about out of time, big guy, and you're playing with your telephone.
I'm not. I was just taking care of thinking about buying my next set of tires. Did that work?
Good man. Good man. Listen, I want to say thanks for coming out, and we'll see you next month in February.
Yep.
And we'll have another update on what's going on out in the wild of Idaho.
You bet.
All the different units that you...
Hopefully when I come out here next time, it's not in single digits.
I hope so. I'd love to start seeing 50 with sunshine. I
can't believe how soft you are getting to be, me.
I'm old.
The older I get, the more I like that big yellow ball
hanging in the sky, melting things.
Yeah.
Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you next month, and we'll see everybody else tomorrow at 8:06. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours, starting at 8:06 to 11, right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live all over the universe on ZebBell.com. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. We'll see you tomorrow morning.